Good afternoon, Villa 2. This is Mrs. Hughes, and I'm going to be working with you on Lesson 5-1 this afternoon, and our focus is multiplying by fractions. Today, I just have one example for you and no vocabulary, so we're going to start our journals off by writing Roman numeral 1, example A. Now, I'm going to give you a word problem here that we're going to be solving. And so you may want to pause the video after I go over the word problem so you can get the entire thing written down. So, our word problem for today is, at Northside Middle School, 8/21 of the students participate in the after-school program. Of those in the program, 7/12 are skateboarders. What fraction of the students are skateboarders? So I have some pretty important information here. I have our fractions, how many students are participating in this after-school program, and then I have the fraction of how many of those kids in that program ride a skateboard. And there's a key term here that is going to be very important for you to look for in order to determine what type of process you're going to have to do for the equation. So of those is our key phrase here. Anytime you see of means to multiply. So I want to know that what 7/12 of 8/21 is. And so that's how I figure out what my process is going to be for the word problem. And so with that, our first step is to determine operations to solve. And that's what we just did. We talked about the words of those, telling us that it really needs to multiply. And it's saying, I want to know what 7/12 of 8/21 is. So it's multiplication that we are focusing on. And again, the key term here is of. Of is always a multiplication word. All right, so once you've determined what operation you're going to use to solve this, so step 2, what you're going to do once you've determined your operation is you're going to look for common factors in the numerator and our denominator. So here is our equation. And I can look at this and I can see that I have some common factors between my numerators and my denominators. And when I'm looking at this, I'm looking at it diagonally. And so I see that 8 and 12 have a factor in common. They both can be divided by 4. I can divide 12 by 4 and I can divide 8 by 4. 4 is a common factor that they have. And then when I look over at 7 and 21, I know that 21 is a multiple of 7, so 7 is a common factor between these two numbers. And again, you can only look diagonally for this. So now I found common factors for both my numerators and my denominators. So I'm ready to move on to my next step. And step 3 is going to take that information that I just found, and I'm going to divide 8 and 12 by 4, because those were our common factors. And then I'm going to divide 21 and 7 by 7, because 7 was our common factor. And so in order to do this, I'm just going to walk you through this. So I said 8 and 12 by 4. So 8 divided by 4 is going to give us 2. And 12 divided by 4 is going to give us 3. I have a new denominator over here. I have a new numerator over here. And then I decided I was going to divide 21 and 7 by 7. So 7 divided by 7 is 1, and 7 divided by 21 is 3. So now I have two new simplified fractions. I have 2/3 and I have 1/3. These new fractions are going to make solving my problem a lot easier. my numerator and my denominator are not going to be these very large numbers, as they would have been with my original fractions. So now that I've simplified, I'm going to do my last step. After you simplify, you multiply straight across. So I take my simplified fractions, 2/3 times 1/3, and I'm going to just multiply these straight across. So I'm going to take 2 times 1 equals 2. And then I'm going to take, and I got my 2 times 1 for my numerators. I'll place my little fraction symbol there. And then I'm going to do the same thing to my denominators. I'm multiplying them straight across. 3 times 3 is going to give me 9. Therefore, my solution to this problem is 2/9. This is a word problem, so you want to make sure you have a word answer. So the solution would say 2/9 of the students are what? Are skateboarders. And that would be my actual solution because this was a word problem, so I must have a word answer. Okay, so I would recommend you go back and watch any of the video that you need further clarification on. If you still have questions after that, make sure you write them down and clarify those with me tomorrow. And as soon as you're finished with your notes, I would like you to click on the link above our video to take you to a Google Doc to practice how to multiply fractions, and you have 3 problems. I hope you have a good rest of your evening, and I will see you tomorrow morning.